Well, hey guys, Rob Stevens here with Aletheia College Park giving you a report. This is going to be an especially pleasant report because you don't have to just look at my ugly mug. You get to look at my lovely bride Denise, who is going to help me give this report. I do apologize. It's been a few weeks since I have gotten a report out, but that is because September has been a crazy month. There's been so much going on. We have been over on the campus almost every day. A lot of our evenings have been taken. Our boys are doing soccer. On top of that, I'm coaching cross country at a local high school to kind of plug into the community. Roosevelt, go Roosevelt, cross country. So it's just been crazy, man. We've got a lot of stuff going on, but we are making a ton of connections, and God has been doing some really, really cool stuff. We've literally probably given out thousands of sunglasses and pens and blow pops and freezy pops on campus, just connecting with people, just initiating conversation with people. And God has allowed us to share the gospel with a handful of them, and we've been planting a lot of seeds, and things are happening, man. Our worship services have almost doubled since the students have come back. We pretty much are averaging around 60 people in our Sunday worship services now, and that just really just changes the dynamic of Sunday mornings for us. We flipped our room around, and it just things are really looking up. There's a lot of momentum and excitement, and we're very excited about what God is doing and what He is going to do this year. I did want to share with you a couple stories. I'm going to share one. I'm going to let Denise share one, actually. Just like specific stories, names for you to pray over. One is about a guy named Tyler. Tyler actually is a transfer student from Towson University, and he went to high school with and is friends with one of the young men that was with us all last year, a guy that we spent time pouring into, teaching him the gospel, how to speak the gospel, and he begins to live his life on mission with his friend. His friend comes to school, he invites him out to church, he comes to church, the biblical community comes around this guy named Tyler, and for some reason, this guy who does not know Jesus, who does not love Jesus, continues to come out. He comes out to community group. He comes out to barbecues and events. There is something about biblical community that loves one another and rocks what we call Philippians 2, has an others mindset that is attractive. And so he's been having conversations with some of our other students. He's beginning to understand the moving parts of the gospel, and he's beginning to see it lived out before him. So we're encouraged by stories like Tyler. We believe Tyler is going to come to faith in Jesus Christ. I want to ask you to specifically lift up Tyler by name and ask that the Lord would draw him to Himself. I also wanted to talk about discipleship a little bit. We're moving into a new phase now where we have a lot of people to disciple, and so we're starting to see the Paul and Timothy model take place. Guys that we poured into last year are now pouring into other young men and investing and teaching them, and that's happening with our young ladies as well. And so God has brought a couple young ladies Denise's way that she is discipling. I want to let her share primarily because of this. I know that a lot of people believe that discipleship is like this add-on thing that we just don't have time for. And let me tell you, being a stay-at-home mom is a full-time job and then some, and it's really, really difficult for Denise to do discipleship in the way maybe we think about it, where we go get coffee for an hour and a half and just go through a book of the Bible and exegete a passage together. So Denise, why don't you tell our supporters what discipleship looks like in the life of a stay-home mom?
Hmm. Well, I did have to redefine discipleship. Before the boys were born, like Rob said, the discipleship was just one-on-one FaceTime. But after having the boys and having less time, one-on-one FaceTime with coffee just can't feasibly happen. And realizing that discipleship is more life on life instead of book on book. And so I've decided, and the only way it's going to work is to take the boys along with. And that way, the girls see good and bad what it's like to be a Christian mom, and how I call on the gospel and the Lord every day. And so I've been dropping the big two off at school, and meeting them at the lake with Levi and the jogging stroller, and we go running. I meet one on Mondays and Wednesdays, and her name is Danielle, and Danielle is one of our student leaders. But pray for her. She lives in such a broken home. Her family is going just through such a hard time, and with her being the only believer, she is just so torn and so heartbroken, and just feels so helpless about what to do, because she really wants to see the Gospel Redeemer family. So just pray for her. And I'm meeting with a new freshman. Her name is Juliana, and she was actually one of Rob's runners at Glenelg.
So she's fast.
The last fruits of his coaching at Glenelg, because she was a freshman when we moved to Harrisonburg, like
correct
after that. And so I meet with her on Tuesdays. And so we're running and just talking and getting to know more about her life and just her background, and just listen to her story. And hearing stories just helps me interject God's story into her life. And then afterwards, because they have to go to class, I go to the park, and there at this point I'm connecting with moms there at the park, and I've made some really cool connections. Be in prayer with Susanna. Susanna is a Hungarian lady. She's totally like 6'2". She played basketball for Georgetown and the Hungarian national team, so she's like 3 times taller than I am. But pray for her and her husband Joe. My heart is just so broken for them, and just pray that they see their need for the gospel and biblical community.
Yeah, just reminded about the beauty of the church and generational diversity. And when you were talking about Danielle and her family, it reminded me of once her sitting at our table saying, you guys have displayed what Christ looks like in the center of a family, which surprises us as much as anyone, because we know how crazy it is up in the Stevens house. But I just want to encourage you guys, man, we couldn't do this without you. And I also want to encourage you to do this sort of stuff where you are. Don't just pray and send, be a part of the mission. We love you guys so much, and we thank you for your support. Continue to pray for Tyler, pray for Danielle, pray for Juliana, and pray for all these new students that God has brought our way, that God would be glorified. Love you guys. Talk to you later.